Welcome everyone to episode 58 of the Looks Like a Movie podcast. My name is Kevin. I'm here with Doug and Owen, and today we're talking about Love Lies Bleeding, the second feature film from director Rose Glass. But first, as always, we're going to talk about what we watched this past week. Who wants to go first? I could go first because my week was very uneventful. And did we have a short week? I think we had a short week, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I watched The Bridges of Madison County, Clint Eastwood movie. Maybe the first Clint Eastwood movie I've enjoyed. I don't know. I don't think
How
I've seen
many
that
have you
many of his
seen?
movies.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that many, but I feel like I don't like the one. No, actually, there's probably one that I've enjoyed. But you know what? That's not. Yeah, I was kind of lying. They exist. They're out there. Bridges of Madison County, definitely the best one I've seen by a good margin. Though I really enjoyed that. I cried a lot. I watched On the Edge to celebrate one Cillian Murphy's Oscar win. Kind of one of his best performances, and I think he was only like 23 when he was in that movie. I watched Sometimes I Think About Dying, which is a new release that got a limited theatrical release and then got put on VOD this past week. I quite liked it. It was nice. I thought Daisy Ridley was very good in it. It was
relatable. The trailer looked good.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know. I can't describe it, but what's that Apple TV show that takes place it's
Severance?
all in an office. Yeah, Severance. The idea of shooting these very symmetrical frames in an office space, when I see that on a screen, it makes me want to fall asleep. I kind of hate that, which is why I couldn't finish the first episode of Severance. I was like, this looks so boring. Obviously it's kind of a big part of this movie. But it was pretty interesting. And it's in I want to say it takes place in Washington or something. So it was quite pretty. And Daisy Ridley's really good. It's very relatable for anybody who is extremely anxious. And may or may not think about dying, as the title suggests. Yeah, it was cool. I wish it got a real proper wide release, but I don't know. What can you do? Daisy Ridley's not. It's kind of she hasn't really had a great post Star Wars run, but maybe
she kind of just got dumped.
She was in some movie called
they used her for Star Wars, and then she was a martyr.
To be fair, Star Wars ruined her life.
Yeah,
so
yeah, for sure. No, but it's annoying because then you watch this movie.
And Star Wars isn't Star Wars stars doesn't really propel. It's a weird thing where it doesn't really propel you anywhere.
Well, yeah, no, so it's actually
John Boyega hasn't really been that big of a name.
The lead character for all three Star Wars trilogies
doesn't
Star Wars has ruined their lives basically.
Yeah. The best thing Mark Hamill did post Star Wars was voice acting for
which he's an amazing voice actor.
Yeah, he's great, but
it's
he was the lead of one of the biggest movies ever made, and then it's then where's Hayden Christensen back in Star Wars?
And it's strange because it's not even it's just, the thing with Daisy Ridley is that a lot of people didn't like this new trilogy, but it's weird that it also happened.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter if they like that shit.
They did.
The only one, it's different for side characters like Adam Driver is just
he's Adam Driver. Harrison Ford,
but,
obviously.
Yeah,
Adam Driver and Harrison Ford are both inevitable regardless of Star Wars. I think.
And they also were in somewhat big projects before. I know
Harrison projects not really, but
Harrison Ford was in Indiana Jones in Star Wars at the same time.
Yeah.
But Adam Driver was in a few things. But I don't know. It's a weird.
Whatever. I hope she's in a movie. I hope she's in a movie that gets at least a theatrical release.
No, I was excited for this movie
a week after it came out in theaters in a limited release. Crazy for somebody who was in a Star Wars movie only a few years ago.
Yeah, I was excited for this. I didn't realize it just was dumped onto VOD immediately.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing that it was playing in theaters, but it wasn't even playing at like my local theater, and then I saw on Twitter that it got dumped on VOD, and I was like, oh, I guess I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's pretty good. It's probably, I mean, definitely one of my favorite movies of the year so far. I think it's like my third favorite. We're gonna be talking about my second favorite.
Not a great start of the year. We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the beginning of the year, but it's also like, yikes, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the strikes did happen. I don't know.
And girl, the strike.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if that has much to do with it, but
my last thing that I watched yesterday was Slumdog Millionaire,
which doesn't look great.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, kind of crazy how much variety there is in the quality of movies that have won Best Picture. Like, I'm watching Slumdog Millionaire, and like halfway through it, I'm like, this movie won the same amount of Oscars as Oppenheimer this year. Like, you really gotta, and not to mention, it didn't even win acting Oscars. It won 7 Oscars and not even an acting. Like, for Slumdog Millionaire, like, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, this is a movie about India directed by Danny Boyle. You know, like, it's like I'm watching the movie and I'm like, this is the whitest movie I have ever seen that doesn't have any white people in it. Like, it's like kind of like
Danny
really
Boyle,
offensive at times.
director.
Yeah, it's kind of really offensive at times. The way that the narrative is structured is really fucking sick. You guys haven't seen Slumdog Millionaire, right?
No.
But essentially this guy who like gets lucky because he's from like the slums of India, and he like gets lucky and wins like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and the movie is structured so that you see each of his questions one at a time, and then you see a backstory about his life that tells you why he knows the answer to that question. And one of them is like, who is the guy who made the revolver? And then it has like a backstory of like someone pointing a gun at him, like threatening to kill him. And then he's like, and it's like, the answer's A, Samuel Colt. And I was like, bro, what the fuck? So this shit isn't real. And it's like based on a true story too. Obviously, like some of it has to be fictionalized, but it's like so obnoxious. I was like, come on, guys. Like, this is one Best Picture. Whatever. I mean, not that that's like the highest, most prestigious award, but like, damn.
Speaking of
though,
Danny Boyle, he was supposed to direct this Methuselah movie, we're starring Michael B. Jordan, and it was going to be written by Tony Gilroy. That news came out during the pandemic, and then
well, he's doing hasn't been 28 years later now, I think.
Yeah, so with Alex Garland.
The thing about Danny Boyle is that he's not like the worst director in the world, and sometimes he like is kind of talented, but like
made Sunshine.
But like the thing is, like, you actually don't know ever the quality of the movie that you're gonna get. Like, if there's a new Danny Boyle movie, you can neither be like excited or disappointed because it's just like whatever. Like, it feels almost like it has nothing to do with him. Like, how good the movie is has nothing to do with him. It's just that sometimes he makes good ones and sometimes he doesn't. Whatever. It's I don't know. It's Slumdog Millionaire. Doug, what'd you watch?
I finished no movies this week. Only the one that we're talking about on the podcast. I watched the first 2 parts of Strike, the Eisenstein film.
That movie is like an hour and 20 minutes long.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, is it actually only 80 minutes?
Listen, because I started it right before I had to go to work, and I was like, "Oh, this is good," and then I had to go to work. And then I didn't have time to finish it because it was 2 days ago. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that explains it. Owen, what did you watch this week? Hopefully, more than 0 movies.
More than 0, but not that many. I watched this movie called Jesus Son, which stars Billy Crudup. And it's on my like watch list for a while, and there was just like, I don't know, the vibes was really like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna really love this movie, and I was really excited to watch it. Like, but it was just one of those things where it's like, if I was rating movies without ever seeing them, you know, just having like a vibe, it would have been like a really high. If I was just like making a letterbox and like, oh, I've never seen a movie, and I'm just rating movies, it'd be high. First like scene, I was like, "Fuck." I literally, like, I think I tweeted out like I was like, "I'm excited for this movie," and then I quote tweeted that and said, "Fuck," because the first scene, I was like,
I think I
"No,
saw that,
this
yeah.
I'm not no," because it has like this really bad like uh narration from Billy Crudup, like where he's just like explaining everything, and like just like the fucking humor of it is like really bad.
Is he good in it though? I quite like him, but
I don't
like
think
when
he's that good in it. I love
okay,
him though. That's why like it
yeah.
felt to me like I was like, I need this. I want this to be like it's like it looked like a little indie movie, like a little like I don't know, a little like down to earth, like low budget, like thing with Billy Crudup, and it's just like weird, like 90s humor that just did not work with me at all, and I like really struggled to get through it.
Right.
So it's like I don't know. That was a case of like really being like, oh, I'm gonna love this movie, and then like immediately being like, fuck, this is not what I thought this movie was gonna be at all. Um, and then I didn't really watch a lot else. I watched Love Lies Bleeding, obviously, and then I watched Young Mr. Lincoln, which is the John Ford movie. I watched it 2 days ago, and then I watched it again last night. A really special movie, like kind of about like it reminds me of some stuff we're kind of doing with the modern. Some people are doing it with like the modern biopic where you have like Napoleon and like Elvis and like the maestros, where it's like these like myths of these people. It's like they're kind of like fictionalized little versions of these like iconic like American uh people. Or like I don't know, it's very fascinating to kind of this portrait of like a fictionalized version of someone that everyone kind of knows, and kind of
Yeah.
like what that means in terms of like and kind of just using that as like a kind of archetypal or archetype of like a hero or a like kind of propelling them in sort of way to kind of showcase like narrative. So really like fascinating movie, and it's also just like John Ford is killing it. It's
It's
also
just like
really it's really funny too. So I think that's like that's the through line for me, where it's like most John Ford movies, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome because of the it's just John Ford like just killing it with all that stuff. But then like the reason it kind of steps above the rest of them, I've only seen a couple, but like this is why it's like one of my favorites, is because of that like how he kind of uses Lincoln as a figure. I think it's really fascinating.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I watched that twice. And I gotta watch some more Ford too soon.
I think
But
you'll really like Liberty Valance.
yeah,
Oh,
there's a bunch of them that I
I
really think
bought
I'll
the
like.
DVD for Liberty Valance at Barnes and Noble the other day. I haven't watched it yet, but
No, it's good.
I
I haven't seen a lot of I've only seen like 3 or 4 John
I
Fords, but
haven't.
that's
I don't think I've seen
that'll
any.
be.
I
They didn't
should.
make you watch The Searchers in film school?
They did not. No. I mean, we talked
No,
about it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
they showed a clip.
we probably watched a different. I mean, we watched some westerns, but yeah, I think
No, yeah, I've seen The Searchers and one other, then Young Mr. Lincoln.
right.
Stagecoach, is that the one you've seen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stagecoach. Which I gotta rewatch that one because there's a lot I liked in that, but I just gotta kind of solidify my thoughts on it.
Real. Are we ready to talk about Love Lies Bleeding?
Are we ready to talk about dope ass film and how movies are awesome,
The
dude?
best
Yeah.
movie of 2024.
The best movie of 2024. That's how we have
Um,
to call this. That's the title of the episode. The
Right.
best
The best
movie of
movie.
2024.
Hell yeah.
I think we should start with the cast because I think one thing we all have in common is how much we like Kristen Stewart, and I would argue everybody else is also good in this movie.
Well,
But we can start with
yeah.
Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Because she's the main character and the biggest name in the movie. Cat Cam.
Like an episode occurrence. Yeah, I mean, Kristen Stewart is fantastic in this, but like for me, when this movie was first announced and like we first got information, like I haven't seen Saint Maud, and Kitty O'Brien is pretty much like she's in like Ant-Man and the Quantumanias, but she's not like a big name. So I was like the freaking like reason to see this movie for me is Kristen Stewart, and I think you get a lot of Kristen Stewart, and she's fantastic here. So if you, for some reason, like haven't seen the movie yet, and you're watching this, if you like Kristen Stewart, I think this like is 100% like worth paying for and going seeing because she's really good in this movie.
Yeah. I think this role is well suited to her.
Yeah.
I
It's like
think
obviously written for her.
yeah, exactly. Like this is like it's very much a movie that only works with her in it.
Yeah.
But I think since you mentioned her already, Katie O'Brien, kind of like the perfect pair, and not an easy thing to do, I imagine, to star opposite Kristen Stewart when you haven't
They
been
play
in that
off
many
each other so
movies.
well, though.
But I was gonna say I did really want to talk about them together because I think their chemistry, especially like when the movie early on is still just kind of a romance before it really starts to unwind.
Yeah.
Is some of the best chemistry in probably recent years, like romantic
Yeah.
chemistry in recent years. There's like a moment where they like
Dune just happened.
okay, well,
You give that movie
no,
5 stars, so
no
you must
comment,
think the
no
chemistry is
comment.
really good.
No, I mean no comment. That's okay. No, I just like when there's like a scene in the gym, like when they first see each other, kind of, you know what I mean? Like when she's just like looking at her,
Yeah,
and I
and
just
Kristen
like
Stewart's frothing at the mouth.
yeah, I just like believed it instantly. I was like, I was like, this just works. Like,
Yeah, no, I
and I
mean,
really
this
like how she's just kind of like dropped there. Like
this
Katie
movie
O'Brien just
could
like
have
shows up in this place.
easily like been bad without like the casting could have ruined this movie because I think like this central kind of chemistry and like the way that they're playing off each other, even like with Katie O'Brien, I think that casting decision like really is like something to applaud for because I mean, yeah, they just the kind of and later on when it gets like kind of more into it, I think like the you really fear for Kristen Stewart's character in some of those scenes because of just how
Yeah.
physically imposing Katie O'Brien is in some of those scenes, and like there's
Yeah, and
like
they
she's
they do
actually
a really
like she
good
gets
job making before we
her
get to like the big part of the
yeah no
the
but like
big part, but like even before that, she looks
no she I
like
mean
big. Like there's like
you're worried for Kristen Stewart. They do but it's like it's both Katie O'Brien's performance, the way they're framing it, but also Kristen Stewart's performance of like her like genuine fear that she like
right.
shows. So I just think it's like an all around
They do
great
a really
job.
good job, like with the you know like those like really quick shots of like the muscles and like the sound design
It's
during those
those are
moments
so
and like
funny because it's
all of
like
these things. And
straight
there's a
up like
scene,
superhero like ass
yeah.
like
And there's
muscles
like the scene
growing.
where I don't want to spoil it yet because we'll probably talk about it later. But there's the scene where somebody dies, and she looks massive
Yeah, no,
in that scene.
the
Like she
the
looks
way that
huge in that
Yeah, it's
scene.
framed really, really well.
yeah.
Yeah.
They
It's kind of
frame it like
nuts.
it's like the Lord of the Rings where they're trying to make like the hobbits look really
Right,
small.
Yeah, no,
right,
They're
yeah,
I
making
only
her look really fucking giant.
yeah, it was
yeah,
like that's they probably like put the ceiling down or something,
yeah. They
like
had
they
to do
Yeah.
something because like when
yeah.
she showed, but when it cut back to her, I was like, she is
She
7
looked
feet tall
yeah, she
right
looked 8 feet
now.
tall.
I
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
like
I'm
that fucking tall person.
Dave Franco, he's 5'7", so like it make like it's good
Yeah,
casting there because you get a smaller guy and then
right.
it like
Well, that's what I was gonna ask next. How do we feel about like the Ed Harris, Dave Franco, Jenna Malone supporting
I think they're
performances?
really good.
everybody's good.
I think
Yeah.
Dave Franco is like looks great as like this little like weaselly like fuck
Yeah,
like
I love how like
loser
in my
guy.
theater, I don't know if this is just the natural Dave Franco reaction that people have
Yeah.
now after so many years, but like in my theater, he like showed up on screen and a bunch of people in my theater started laughing before he started talking. Like they just saw him and started
Yeah.
laughing, and I was like, yeah, I
There
mean that's
there you
Dave
go. That's
Franco.
good. That's good casting right there. That's what
Yeah.
you want.
And Ed Harris is just like he's just
Yeah,
great at being a scary guy.
he's
Like you
good.
just see his face and you're like, that man is terrifying, and I believe it.
I it was yeah, I was happy with him because this is like a weird comparison, and I know a couple people made it when the first trailer came out. But what's the guy in what's the oh fuck I'm forgetting the movie now. The Luca Guadagnino movie with Timothée Chalamet. with
Mike Rylance.
Mike. Yeah,
Mark Rylance.
So Mike Rylance in that movie that I'm forgetting the name of, the cannibal movie. This is bad.
Yes.
This is really bad. Mark
Oh,
Rylance
man, I can't remember.
in
Bones and All.
Bones and All. There you
No,
go.
I don't know why I knew that the whole time. I thought I didn't realize you guys were struggling to think of the
I
title.
was like, I can't name the guy's name or the movie. So Mark Rylance in Bones and All had like a similar kind of energy that I was getting, and I really don't like him in Bones and All. And I was worried that Ed Harris's performance was gonna have a similar effect on me. In this movie,
Don't like him as in like you literally
like,
don't like him in the
just
movie,
I
or
just
he
don't.
makes you uncomfortable in a good way.
I think he does a good job, but I don't like that in that movie. Like I just wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't prefer. There's so much going on in that movie that I just like. I don't want this other
Okay,
weird
gotcha.
feeling.
And you didn't want Ed Harris.
I think he fits
feel
in like
that.
some like Texas Chainsaw shit, but like I
Okay.
don't know. I wasn't
in
a
that
fan of
movie,
that in that
right.
movie. But I was worried. I was like, I don't know. I really like this Kristen Stewart thing going on. I don't want him to like the tonally to mess that up. But I thought like
Right.
he was really good at Harris. I don't know, weird kind of tie-in, but like Ed Harris is like kind of a different opposing kind of force in that kind of whole situation.
Yeah.
And I thought he was really interesting. I thought the kind of whole father-daughter relationship with him and Kristen Stewart was really interesting because I didn't know that. I don't know if that was in the promotional stuff, but I wasn't aware of that.
I think there's something in the trailer
maybe,
that
yeah.
I don't know if it says that they're related, but there's something in the trailer that gives away that they know each other.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, even then, but like the fact that the whole daughter father thing is, I think that was a whole interesting, like the whole like kind of tie-ins where it was like you first see Katie O'Brien having sex with Dave Franco, and then you see Dave Franco with Kristen Stewart, and you're like, oh, they know each other. Like I thought the way that like they kind of introduced characters and kind of slowly we're like getting more information of like how the people know each other and like all the kind of interrelationships, I thought was really well done. I think like in general it's like a really nice in like screenplay. I thought the screenplay was really good.
I do have it's a good thing you mentioned the screenplay and I guess the relationships. I think there's some things that I don't know if they're necessarily criticisms of the movie, but maybe just stuff that I'm still thinking about whether I understand totally.
Yeah.
This one is maybe more outwardly a criticism, but I was thinking about the relationship with Kristen Stewart and the Jenna Malone character, who's like her sister. And that's kind of like the driving force of the narrative, is that like it's kind of like a like other than the core relationship, like all of the violence and like the way that it all unravels is really because of a revenge plot, because she is married
Jenna
to
Malone
somebody,
gets her face.
Yeah, because she's married to
the
somebody
inciting
abusive.
incident is kind of Jenna Malone getting beat up.
Right. So she's married to an abusive husband,
Dave Franco.
Dave Franco. And I was gonna ask you guys, because maybe I'm just like being weird about it, but I'm like, is there a way to make this movie work without that? Because like a lot of the time I just forgot that was like the like thing going, like the revenge plot like feels like it's like kind of put to the side. I don't know. Like they just kind of like she kind of just like shows up back to Jenna Malone every once in a while.
It's not even like about that really. It's like she gets mad at Dave Franco, and then Katie O'Brien's character, I think it's Jackie, right? Jackie kills fucking Dave Franco, and then that's when the movie really starts.
Yeah. I get why it exists. Yeah, no, I know. I get why it exists like story wise, but then like once you get to the end, like the second half of the movie, you're just like, that's just like a thing that's there. Like, and then she shows up at the end and they have like that whole argument, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about Jenna Malone. I don't know. I just like
I didn't
seems like a lot, because there's also the relationship.
I don't even think you needed her. I don't even know if you need. I don't even think you needed her at the end.
I think that it is an important kind of part of what the movie's about, is having her character there.
Yeah.
Because the big theme of the film is kind of the idea of chosen family, right?
Right.
And it's every character in this movie has a significant other that they have chosen, and then that their significant other, and Kristen Stewart's family, but then their spouse makes their own decisions about like how to treat them and like what they want to do in their lives. And that even gets all tied up at the very end when Kristen Stewart confronts her dad about her mom,
Yes.
and it's like,
Yeah.
so I think that if you don't have the her
Yeah.
character, the sister character, I think that it just takes away
Oh yeah,
from
it does.
what
That's
they're
why I was like
communicating.
a little bit, yeah. That's why I was like a little bit torn about it because I was like, this matters because of what the movie is trying to say. I just wish it was like tied in neater. What can you do? I don't know. That was a minor thing. The only other thing, like script wise, I guess that like I don't know. I just want to talk about their relationship as a whole. Maybe I just want to hear what you guys think about the relationship being
Katie O'Brien
presented in
and
the
Kristen
movie.
Stewart.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that the relationships. Okay, here's a big thing about this movie, right? Is that it's very corny. It's like a super
sure.
corny movie, and it's like it's so corny in certain parts of it because of this heightened reality, like
Yeah,
that the tone is taking on.
Yep.
Um, uh, that some people are just going to be totally turned off by it. I think.
Yeah.
But if you can, and even me, I was like, oh, I don't know if if this is working for me. But then like as the movie goes on, I'm like, oh no, this is very, very good. Um, but because of this heightened reality, I think that the way that characters communicate to each other, specifically the Kristen Stewart and what's the
Katie
actress's name? Her
O'Brien.
name's
Katie O'Brien.
Katie O'Brien.
Katie O'Brien. Okay, thank you. It's the way that these two characters communicate to each other is very much it's like, but I love you, baby. And
Right,
it's like,
right.
like shit like that. And it's
Yeah.
like, but I would do anything for you, and it's and very it's like just imagine Kristen Stewart saying that while being
Right.
kind of frazzled, and that's like the whole vibe of the movie.
No,
Like,
yeah. I mean that the corniness of it definitely not something that bothers me at all. I guess I was just thinking more of like the type of relationship that's presented, which is
a
at times
lesbian
like
relationship.
no, not a lesbian relationship.
That is the
um,
type of relationship that is
it's
presented.
just, I heard I listened to Rose Glass talk about it a little bit, and she said herself that it's like kind of a toxic, maybe not the most healthy
Yeah.
relationship. Um, yeah, I don't like because obviously they just like jump into it quite fast. She's like Katie O'Brien just kind of shows up, and then stuff happens very immediately, and then they're you know well, they're living
And then
together because
Kristen Stewart is
she
like
has to live somewhere.
enabling her.
Yeah. But it's they're kind of there's some stuff. I don't know. I just thought that Katie O'Brien's character at times for me was maybe like sort of difficult to understand just because of like how rapidly like certain things shift in
Yeah.
like how
Well,
quickly we move
she's
through the
definitely
story
difficult to love
and
at times, which
yeah
I
and
think is
just
kinda
like
like the part of the
how
movie, but, like,
no that's
she's
what I was like torn about because sometimes like things move fast because she's like obsessed. She has like this dream of the bodybuilding competition, and then like she comes back from that and she's like kind of a completely different person and just like really immediately like pretty intense and like violent and like things are happening, but also like a lot of the shifts can be explained away by other things, like obviously there's this whole like her being addicted to steroids thing that is like obviously going to affect
yeah.
how her mood shifts and how intense she gets. And then there's also the fact that like Doug mentioned, it's like this kind of hyper realistic, like heightened reality movie. So like that could explain a lot of things. So I feel like there's a lot to fall back on to explain away like the way that her character acts at times, but it does jump pretty rapidly between like her moods and like who she is and like how she feels about Kristen Stewart's character, which is like sort of hard to pin down at times for me
I
because
think,
everything is changing so fast.
yeah, I
Like,
think,
does that make sense?
yeah, yeah.
like the way her character's written is a little bit difficult for me to like grapple with at times.
I really like the character work in this. That was actually my big
Yeah,
takeaway right after watching it. I was like, I think that Lou, who is the Kristen Stewart character,
Kristen
is
Stewart
really
character, yeah.
interesting. And maybe it's a negative that I'm thinking about like character work in a screenwriting sense after watching the movie instead of just being like,
Sure.
oh, but because I was thinking about like the difference between Kristen Stewart as like a performer playing this character and just her as like a, because there is sometimes where you're watching a movie and you're like, oh, this is just an actor reading lines, you know.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was like, this character is really realized in a meaningful way, and I think that this character has some interesting stuff going on because, and it goes, and I'm bringing this up because I think it goes into what you were saying about the Katie O'Brien character, where
Jackie. Yeah.
Jackie, yes, where Lou lives in like this really small town, this really
Right.
insular small town, and she's like one of two lesbians presumably that lives here,
Yeah.
and the other one
We
is just
don't meet
fucking
any others.
disgusting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right, and it's like she lives with this really shitty situation with like a really fucked up dad, a really fucked up family life, and it's like
Right.
she's like stuck, and it's kind of hopeless, for a lot of it's like sexually hopeless too. It's like
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff going on here, and then the this Jackie character, this bodybuilder, gets fucking dropped in by God, you know, um, and
Right.
it changes everything, obviously,
Mhm.
but for Lou, it's like, oh, this is the first person I've ever liked, probably in her entire life, other than her sister. You
Yeah.
know, so it's like I think that's kind of an interesting way to think
Yeah.
about it too, where it's like, oh, this Jackie character has like a lot of shit, like has like a lot of baggage, but it's like she, that doesn't matter because it's the
Yeah.
first
Right.
person she's ever liked in her whole
And
life.
the nature of how quickly they get into the relationship makes complete sense, I think. And the nature of how much they like each other and then eventually like love each other, like I think that is true. And everything you said, I agree with.
And
I
she is enabling, and I think that's like part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
because
curious what you guys think about how it ends because it's kind of like
I'm
not
curious.
yeah,
Spoilers. We're gonna spoil the entire
we're gonna
third act of
yeah,
this movie.
we'll spoil it. Yeah, I mean everything up until now I guess it's been like a minor spoiler, but this will be major kind of. But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
so I think my presumption as I was watching the movie unfold is that this was not going to end with them being together. I was like, I feel like this can end in a good way. And then they do end up together. But the question is sort of like, because of what we just said about the type of relationship it is and like whether or not it is uh entirely a healthy one, is it like a happy ending? Because they're also like
Yeah.
on the run. like
I
like
think
it's
it's a
like kind of
happy
the
ending.
beginning of a whole new story.
I do think it's painted as a happy ending, but I
Right.
think you could read it as like this is not gonna like be the life. It's not life of rainbows and stuff like that.
It
Like
it
they
depends on
Yeah.
still,
how you feel about these characters.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they are getting away from that shitty situation, but they also still got a body in the back. I mean, they're
Right.
still.
Which that, like you see them dumping
No, I
on their
know,
way
but
out.
like,
But like
it's also how do
but
you feel
they're
about
still gonna have like somebody
how
on
do you
their
feel about
trail.
Kristen Stewart going back there? She's still like alive, and like she chokes her out. Like, I
Right.
mean, I guess that's one way to egg a kill off your past, like straight up. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it
It's
ends positively, like that's how it
Yeah.
feels. But yeah, I think you can read it depending on
I
like
think
your
it's a hopeful ending. I think it's a hopeful because it's about this character that's like, oh, she has this opportunity, like something very radical has happened in her
yeah
life, and it has
Yeah.
given her not just the opportunity, but it has like forced her
yeah. I think hopeful is
to
a good word.
yeah, to like start
Yeah.
a new life, to like
And
um
I guess it's like this might be not a correct reading, but it's like
Yeah.
very possible that they run away and just don't have anybody chasing after them because this is like small town like
Yeah.
crimes, like the FBI got involved with her father, so like that's gonna be a thing, obviously.
I don't think they have anybody chasing
No,
after
I
them.
think they're.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
what's
think they're
implied.
good.
Yeah, but also like she, the other, who you referenced, I don't remember her name, but the other like lesbian that she has a relationship with that
Yeah.
whose body they dump at the end, like I mean, I don't know if people would be looking for that character, but I guess not. Like it doesn't
No.
seem like she has anybody in her
I mean,
life.
she's just some random girl in this small
Yeah.
town. I think they.
So I guess it is. Yeah, I guess in that way it is happy because they do. I see it as like happy from the perspective that like Kristen Stewart has like this chance at a life that she's never had before, because she mentions that she's like literally never left this place. Like I think there's a line in the movie where she actually says that like she's never left there before. So like in that way,
It feels like there's this like evil cloud on this area, and like once Katie O'Brien's character enters this like area with this cloud, she ultimately like shit just starts going bad. And I think like there's almost this feeling of like you're finally leaving. Like, and I think like even like she goes to Vegas and like, but she still has like the fucking like cloud. Like she still has like she like has that over because she. But like they're finally like getting out.
What did you guys think about the Vegas part? The bodybuilding competition.
I think that was cool. Here's the thing. That's how I feel all the time. The way that like we were experiencing reality from her point of view. That's how I felt. That's how I feel all the time. That's just like
on the
my
verge
reality.
of just punching the shit out of everybody.
I feel like my mind is buzzing and like everything's too bright. That's just that's my life.
I like the bit where she's just about to go on stage and she sees like Kristen Stewart, like Lou, like there's like a vision of like Lou telling her go get him. I think that's a good bit. I think it kind of be like a tease. Like once you say like, oh, we're going to a bodybuilding competition, you kind of infer that you're going to go to the bodybuilding competition, unless it's like a glass moment. But I think
I thought it might be that. I thought we might never go to the bodybuilding competition.
So I liked seeing that. I think that like that's a good like I don't know. It was cool to see that whole. I think it's like kind of important. Or maybe not important, but I think it would like it worked in the kind of narrative of the way that they were like portraying all these like bodies and stuff, like especially at the beginning where they're showing like the gym and stuff, and then to like show the competitors there, and then I like her like losing it, like the throwing. Well, there's that scene where it's like the vision and she like throws up Kristen Stewart, which a lot of people are like pointing at and being like, this movie is very Cronenberg-y. And like that's like that one scene that they're really talking about, because the movie is not very Cronenberg-y. I think it's more like it's a noir kind of like, it's more even like what's it called, Coen Brothers with like a different kind of tone, but like a narrative kind of structure. Cronenberg, not Cronenberg, Coen Brothers thing. I don't think it's very Cronenberg at all, because it's not really focused on like body horror or like the ideas that he's interested in. That's just kind of a scene that happens in the movie.
There's like one body horror scene which we can mention because that was pretty like
that's what I mean. That's what we're talking about right now.
Okay, well then say what you're gonna say.
No, I was gonna say, well, that scene is way more just like the one moment in Men, the Alex Garland movie.
Yeah, well, it's funny because Doug, we're talking about that, and Doug brought that up. I do agree. I think that's like, I don't know. It's weird. I wish there was a little more of that, maybe, because that I don't know. I think there's like, I mean, Doug was talking about like the heightened reality, but there's like the stuff where, like she, obviously at the end where she's like really really big, and there's like the stuff where like her, again, Kevin brought it up, where like her muscles are like growing like really rapidly, and like she's like 7 feet tall and all these stuff. So like there are like those little things, and it kind of is like this like progression of like you get like sprinkles of it here and there, and then finally at the end it's like the big like climax moment where you're finally getting like the huge reveal. So I don't know. I think I like it in that way, but
just to be clear, we were not talking about the same scene, Doug. I was referring to the part where Dave Franco's chin is hanging from his face.
That's another. But I don't think that's very Cronenberg.
That's not like I wasn't saying it was Cronenberg.
That's just like I don't even know what I would say that I like that scene. Now that scene made me laugh. That was like that made me the funniest moment of the movie for me, because his just fucking face is fucked up. and it wasn't even like I don't know why it made me like I thought that was so funny because it wasn't like oh, but it was like more like that's such a funny fucking image of Dave Franco. Like his fucking eyes are like he's just like a goofy looking guy, so his like fucking mouth is just gone. And I don't know.
And then when they pick him up, and it's just like
yeah,
swinging around.
I don't know.
That shit rocks, dude.
That was just a funny bit for me.
Yeah. So you guys both liked the part where she turns into a giant 50-foot tall
at the end.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to Tyler Whitmore about it, and he was unsure, and he liked the movie, but he was unsure about it. And I don't know. I thought it was in the moment I was like on board, but I'm not sure. Like it's not my favorite thing in the world. I'm interested what you guys think about that scene.
I like it.
Yeah,
I think that
excited reaction.
I think that a lot of people, it will not work for a lot of people.
Yeah, I could see.
That's what happened
like,
to my friend who I was watching the movie with.
Yeah, I could see people being like, "I like the movie," and then that scene fucking ruined it for me.
Yeah, well, literally as soon as we walked out of the theater, the first thing my friend said to me was about that scene. But he could see during the movie, during that scene, like when she showed up and she was 50 feet tall. I literally got like giddy. Like I got a big smile on my face and I went to him and I was like, that fucking rocks. I was like, that's so cool.
I do. I think I liked it because I the whole movie I was thinking about like, because it's very like superhero-y, like kind of this like weird, like she's larger than life kind of like effects that are going on her. So I think it works. And I thought it was funny where she's like literally like, I don't even like 50 feet tall and she's got like Ed Harris like strapped down. I think it's funny.
Yeah, I think it
because
the whole thing is this like neo-noir anxiety piece, right?
Yeah.
But this relationship between them is at the center of it, and it's like, oh yeah, she has sacrificed so much. She, as being Lou, has sacrificed so much for Jackie, and Jackie probably has there's so much mutual like love and trust that has been built up that is there, that it's like, oh yeah, like at the end, what does she do to save her? She becomes the Hulk, she becomes way big from Ben 10. And it's like, I think that it's like like thematically, I think it's kind of powerful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I thought it was really fun. It definitely adds to the heightened reality aspect that you're talking. I mean, that's like the most obvious thing where like, this is not real, or just imagined. Obviously, like it could just
dream, like
the case. Yeah, the case could just be that Kristen Stewart's character. Obviously, is just this is in her head. But regardless, I thought that was a pretty cool.
Well,
moment.
That's kind of. That's what I was thinking too, where I was like, oh, this is like it's so radically from the perspective of Kristen Stewart at some moments, where like the first time where she gets the like they meet and then they have sex, right? And the next morning when Kristen Stewart's making her breakfast, and then Katie O'Brien, Jackie is so entitled immediately and is like, oh, this is really good, eating this massive omelet, and it's like, next time just take out the yolks, maybe. And it's like, and Kristen Stewart's reaction to that is so interesting. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's so like, because it's not like enthused. It's not like she's not met with like a lot of enthusiasm, but it's also like not like a negative reaction either. It's so just like, it's like, I don't know. But it's like she's willing to enable her, and it's like, oh, because of this, she met this attractive woman that she can have sex with, and that has like her own goals, and is, I don't know. There's a lot going on. It's cool. Like,
question: is there a way? Because I saw you guys put it in the show notes. Is there a way for you guys to connect this movie to Lost Highway without spoiling the movie for me? Or
yes.
You could just spoil it if you want.
No, without spoiling Lost Highway, you mean?
Yes,
That's very easy.
Okay.
You see there. I don't know if you remember these scenes, Kevin, because it's kind of like if you've seen Lost Highway and the scenes happen, you're just like it's like the fucking Leo gif where he's like pointing at the screen.
Right.
But in Lost Highway, David Lynch does these like shots of the fucking like highway. Like I don't know how to. I don't know how to do.
Like they struck the camera to like the front of the car.
Yeah, you see like
when it's showing the
Yeah, so
which
I
movie
don't know
wrote.
if you remember those in the
Yeah.
movie, but those are like straight like that's like an iconic like Lost Highway image. So it's not really about like the narrative or like anything spoiling Lost Highway. It's just like
okay.
like kind of homage to the Lost Highway.
And there's like other similarities that's like those are like those shots are like overt references to
Yeah,
David
yeah.
Lynch. But like there's also like some other similarities, like in Lost Highway, the main character in Lost Highway, he is similar to the Kristen Stewart. It's like a similar like heightened reality, but it's David Lynch, so it's not.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like more like a heightened unreality
Yeah, it's
in a
just
way.
yeah,
Gotcha.
unnatural kind of.
Yeah, but it's like he has to go out into like drive out to the middle of nowhere to go talk to like a strange character that
Oh
tells
yeah,
him
yeah, yeah.
bad stuff and like stuff
Right.
like that. Like it's not like, and it's like a similar feeling to this when they drive out to the canyon, you know, and it's like
Okay,
it's that
yeah.
same like
Well,
really
that's when that scene
intense.
happens with the
With the car.
like the
Yeah,
road is when
yeah,
they're going
yeah.
to the canyon. So I mean, yeah, there you go.
That similar like intense uneasiness, and yeah, you'll get it if you
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
watch.
I'll watch. Yeah, I'll watch
Yeah,
the
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Rose Glass related question now, because neither of you have seen Saint Maud, correct?
No.
Correct.
Okay, I have seen Saint Maud. I like this movie more, though. Maybe I want to rewatch Saint Maud after seeing this movie. I didn't love Saint Maud, but I didn't dislike it either. It's quite good for a feature debut. Just going off of one movie that you've seen from Rose Glass, would you say that you would be as excited about the next Rose Glass movie as, say, the other young filmmakers of this generation that have 2-3 movies out?
Give me some filmmakers.
Are we comparing her to Ari Aster?
No,
Right
yeah.
now?
you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to compare her to your
filmmakers.
favorite filmmaker, but just in
Who we talking about?
that same category of people. That is, or you could even say the tier below if you want to think of like if you want to
Who's the tier
separate like
below? I don't know what
I don't
who
know
these tiers are.
people who only have 2-3 movies, whatever. I can't.
I'll
name
say
them
this.
off
I'll
the
say
top of
this.
my head, but
I like this movie. I'm excited for like I'll definitely be like first day for her next movies. I'm not like this movie didn't make me be like, oh, this is like one of the best young directors or anything like that. I think it's definitely a good movie, but I wasn't like, oh, this is gonna be one of my favorite directors. I think like the reason why this movie works for me so well is I think the script's really good and I think the acting's very good. I think the directing's not bad. Like I don't think the directing's bad, but it's not like a David Robert.
She did write the script as well, correct?
Yeah, no.
Rose Glass did write the script as well.
So it's like I think she's talented, and I will watch her other movies, and I will be excited when a new one gets announced. But it's not like
right.
I don't know. There wasn't a lot directing wise where I was like, oh, this is like my goat, But that's not like not everyone has to be that. It's like I think she's just very good. Put her in the very good pile.
I don't know. Well, that's what I'm thinking because there's like a lot of people. I don't know.
We'd also second movie.
We'd have to tier these people, I guess, but because obviously there's like a different conversation between like the Jordan Peele, Ari Aster, Safdie brothers of the world, and then like the other people who just had their first or second movie came out and they're relatively smaller movies that haven't been seen by as many people. I don't know. Like
I think.
Is Rose Glass
she's in her 30s.
Yeah, she's pretty young. She's totally comparable to the Safdie brothers for me, and not just like there's some similarities.
About 34 years old,
but I might be more excited again, depending on like the subject of the films, right? For the next Rose Glass film than I am for the next Safdie brothers directed film,
it depends. I would agree with that. I think it depends on the who's involved in the project, what the project's about. I would say that they're kind of similar areas. I haven't seen a Safdie brothers movie in like a few years because I'm not comparing to them, but
comparing her to Ari Aster or Robert
Eggers is
setting. Yeah.
But yeah, I think
that's,
the Safdie's
that's what I meant. I couldn't think of a good example. I'm trying to look at like movies from this past year. Like for example, like Are You There, God With Me, Margaret is made by Kelly Freeman Craig, who only has 2 movies.
well,
And
you know
and
what?
I
I think
quite like both of those.
the issue is Rose Glass has just a name, man. Rose Glass is that's what a name.
Oh
Like
yeah, I mean it's like one of the better.
like
It's
who
one
you
of the
gonna
best
pick?
names you can.
Like Rose Glass.
Yeah, it's like a
a
perfect
brand
name.
there.
It's yeah.
That shit rocks.
I'm curious if she is Rose Glass just her given name.
Almost certainly not. Almost certainly not, right? Am I crazy?
I mean,
There's like no way.
no, I think it's possible.
It looks. I mean,
Rose Glass's real
or
name.
Wikipedia.
No, I think her name is just Rose Glass.
Rose Glass.
But okay,
Unless
I'll
there's
say
just
this,
not
Kevin.
information about it
Rose
online.
Glass
I'll say this, Kevin.
parents.
Love Lies Bleeding has made me super interested in watching Saint Maud. If that's
Yes,
a meaningful
okay.
response
Well,
to your
that's a good.
question.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
a good response.
Real name.
I'm curious what you guys would think about it. And then I don't know which one of you put this in the show notes, but I did want to bring it up because because we're talking about like I guess like the filmmakers of this generation, right? But this kind of like anxiety thriller brand that is I'm curious what movies you were referring to when you wrote that.
Well,
I mean obviously the Safdies are like the staple like anxiety thriller people.
I was thinking that I think that's like the same vein as that, and also
like similar to like Titan, maybe even in terms of like anxiety, but like not really because that's more like body horror and stuff like that. But it's like it's not much of a thriller, I guess.
Hey, chill out,
it is in the beginning.
On yourself.
But I think that I wonder how much of this has to do with branding and like A24 wanting movies like this to get made. You know what I mean? By movies that get made, I'm super specifically talking about like something with the tone of Uncut Gems. You know what I mean? Like something like because I really like Love Lies Bleeding a lot, but while watching it, and obviously because cinema is an interesting art form because it is so commodified, you know, and artists have to work in a business model to make money. Even art house movies oftentimes because are being increasingly more commodified. But
shout out A24.
Yeah, shout out A24. But I was thinking while watching it, I was like, this feels like I don't know. It kind of feels like an intentional decision to make a movie with this aggressive, anxious tone from the studio.
I will say, and I don't remember the movie very well because I haven't watched it since it came out, but this definitely has similarities to Saint Maud, which is a movie that came out like 5 years ago now. So I don't know. That's worth noting, I guess.
Yeah, but even then, it's like I was thinking about it, and I'm not saying that like Rose Glass doesn't have like the agency over her film, but I was more saying like maybe it's like A24 is seeking out filmmakers that are interested. Yeah.
In telling stories like that. Well, I'm trying to the thing is I'm just trying to think of like somebody. I'm trying to think of an example of that kind of movie from a young filmmaker that isn't Good Time or Uncut Gems.
I was thinking about. And I haven't seen it. We haven't seen it yet, but I saw the TV Glow is another A24 movie that comes out this year, and there is a sense of, I guess, in like Jane's their last film, but even in the trailer, this is like the very much like a movie about like anxiety and that kind of like pushing the narrative forward, and that's another A24 project. I think it's an interesting thing to bring up because there is this kind of through line of like some of these young filmmakers. But I don't know where
I'm looking at A24 movies.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I was doing.
I would honestly, I would include Beau's Afraid in this.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's a good example. There. I would
include Men, the Alex Garland movie, in this a little bit. I would include, but like that's a little bit of a different thing.
No, but yeah, that is like a paranoid kind of like thriller, like. But it's, I mean, that's a horror movie, so that's kind of the brand. Yeah, it's like being scary.
Honestly, I would include Beef, which is a TV show, but that's like an A24 production. Right. You know,
yeah,
I think that call. Beef is also like this kind of like that.
Did anyone see Dream Scenario?
No,
I did not, but they just put it on Max.
We didn't see it, but I mean, from the I'm basing off trailers, but like it very much it's like
feels like
Nicolas Cage is like very like much feeling this anxiety of like everyone like seeing him in his dreams.
Yeah, so I just wonder, is like this like is this going to be a staple of like this generation of younger filmmakers? Like, I don't know. Is like
Yeah.
is
Mitch
that
has
what?
got
I think that,
anxiety
you know what the thing
nowadays.
is though, that I think is like the only thing I would say is that there's like I think there's probably too many people making movies for to narrow it down like that, because I mentioned this when the year wrapped, but like I think there was 8 or 9 movies in like my 50 favorite movies of this past year that were debut films. So like I think there's just too many new filmmakers making interesting movies, whether you guys like them or not, that we would that we could say that this is like going to be a staple. But I could see the through line there with what you're mentioning about A24 potentially seeking out like people who make a certain type of, or tell a certain type of story or want to make a certain type of movie. That's kind of apparent in
Yeah,
like tone and vibes and even just story.
is there is like a lot of and annoyingly a lot of discussion about A24 type of movies, right? And
Right.
for the layman, that means usually art house. That's usually an
Yeah.
offhand way of just describing an art house film. That's obviously not true, right? That is not what
Yeah.
it. But like, I think that like if there is an A24 style, I think it is more of like this, like, like the Safdie brothers, Good Time, like also like Love Lies Bleeding, maybe
Sure.
like
Yeah, but I think if you put like the average person in a room and showed them like an A24 film and then like a neon film, they would be like, those are yeah, like then they'd be like, those
yeah,
are both A24 movies. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
that's not really, I don't know.
A24 is
Like
Ferrari.
that's just how they refer to like movies made on a
Yeah, yeah.
smaller like indie films in
But it's funny
general.
because it's like they're not like. I mean, it's not.
Yeah. But you
It,
get what I'm saying. It's
no,
like
I
you wouldn't
know.
be able to tell the difference between a neon and an A24 film if you were
Well,
like,
yeah, but that's like it's like would you be able to tell the difference between a Paramount and a
no, of course not. But that's what I'm
20th
saying
Century
from the
Fox film?
perspective of people who, box A24 films in like that. Like
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
themselves would not be able to
Yeah,
separate those movies from another
but
indie studio.
I don't know. I think that it's because I think that it's an interesting conversation. It might not be. I think that it's an interesting conversation just because A24 is trying very hard to turn its movies into commodities and to create itself like this brand where it's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
like not just the experience of the movie, but it's also like the idea of identifying with the movie and like wanting to be like a fan and creating like you into like not just somebody that purchases the movie ticket but also like purchases into the brand of the film.
Well,
And
I think
That
that
makes
that's
no,
George
sorry. Go ahead.
Lucas's fault ultimately.
oh, right, yeah.
No, it all comes back to George Lucas. But I think I made like a video about this a while ago, and I was struggling to kind of like totally wrap my head around it. But I think there is like an element of like this generation of film enjoyers that grew up with kind of luxury of franchise films, and the way that they engage with film has to come like do with that. I mean, you have the Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and Harry Potter and all that stuff that came around, like the Matrix and Pirates of the Caribbean, all that stuff that came around that time. And so franchise films are kind of in our blood in a way. Like I mean, Avatar and all like and all that stuff. That's just so big. That's like not really evidence in like other decades of cinema. Like this is just such a big boom of that kind of started with like Star Wars and stuff. Also, like you had like trilogies and stuff, but like the really like franchisification of cinema. And now there is stuff like A24 where they're not doing those, like they want to move into that. Like they've said before, like they want to do like bigger movies. But when you're a smaller budget like sort of situation where you can own smaller budget products, but you're still trying to have that like franchiseification of like the way that you can sell your movie. That's like their kind of whole thing where they're trying to like sell their movie like it's Star Wars, but it's like the zone of interest, which like that's where you get.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. No, that's what I was gonna
It's
say because I
like
was like, what happens now? Like, because there's movies that they can't sell, and there's
no, that's
filmmakers
what
who don't really make movies. Like, I
it's
was thinking of
when the
like
zone
Yeah.
of
how they've
interest
worked
came
with
out.
Kelly
They
Reichardt
they did
several
not know how to
times.
market the zone of interest because they were like,
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like there are some people that like we're even fans of, or I'm a huge fan of, like Ari Aster and Kelly Reichardt. Not
Right.
Kelly Reichardt, Ari Aster and Rose Glass and the Safdies that they work with a lot that are like easy to like kind of like sell their movies and like
Yeah,
get people in and be like, oh, here's
this
an
person's movie.
A24 movie or
Yeah.
whatever.
Here's
which
the
is
t-shirt.
fine. But then there's people that are like that do not
You
make
can't-
movies
yeah.
like that. Like Kelly Reichardt does not make movies like that,
Yeah.
and Jonathan Glazer does not. These guys, these are artists. These are actually, but not
Yeah.
these other
They
guys.
gotta
are
get
artists,
not that
but-
those
I
other
don't know.
no, but I get
Yeah,
what, I
they
get
gotta
what
rock
you're
it, Kelly.
saying.
You
It's
gotta
just
get
yeah,
it's
a
yeah.
Riker
not easy
t-shirt
for them
logo
to
for
yeah, like it's not easy for them to
They're not
market
making
that.
commodities. They're not making
Yeah,
products. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like, so how so is there a world in which moving forward they just like stop giving money to those filmmakers? Because I don't,
right,
you know what
right.
I mean? It's like, but I don't think they would do that. So that's why
I
I'm
don't know.
like, no, it's possible, but it's like that, that's like that's been their kind of brand from the beginning. It's just that we've seen it like their
Yeah.
brand from the beginning, and working with like, like the Ari Asters or whoever who now make these movies that are commodities for them. Like at the start, those people were probably no different than Kelly Reichardt to them. They were just trying to make like indie films with good directors who had like clear visions.
Yeah,
and
Hereditary
and
really
now it
ruined
is
everything, didn't it?
yeah, now it has kind of like turned into this separate thing, but they're still making movies with those filmmakers. But then it's like, I don't know. But then you think about like it in terms of marketing, and it's like maybe they're working with people like Jonathan Glazer because part of their marketing is like, we want to make like award-winning films as well. Like we want to make like prestigious films. But then it's
Yeah.
like, but then they didn't do anything for the Iron Claw, which fits into both categories for them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like they could have made that both an Oscar film and a movie that if they pushed out more would have made twice as much money.
Well, they didn't
because,
really like. I mean, the
who-
Zone of Interest wasn't really like. I mean, it was playing like a weird. I don't know. The whole release of Zone of Interest was kind of odd. Like their whole. I don't know. The way they kind of push out movies is
Sure, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's like they could have both
yeah.
propped
No,
up the Iron Claw as an Oscar film and as a movie to appeal to like this
Yeah.
like commodity kind of like make money
I'm
for them.
interested in the
And they
next.
didn't do either.
I'm interested what A24 looks like in the next like decade.
Yeah, because I
Um,
think there's like a clear shift in what's happening. I don't know.
Also, it sounds like I'm being negative because I'm using kind of language that people associate negatively.
Yeah.
I like all of these movies.
No,
I really,
right.
I
like,
really,
they
really
make
do. I truly
movies
do.
that I like. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's like I
most of
really,
these movies I feel positive about.
I'm not joking when I say Love Lies Bleeding's the best movie of the year so far. Like
Yeah.
actually, like
And
I
even
like it
the
more
two
than
the two
Dune.
movies I just named, like the Iron Claw and the Zone of Interest, are two of my favorite, like my top 15 favorite movies of the past year.
And
Like, they're
I'm
like,
also
we're
I'm
talking
like
about good
super
movies.
vocal about how I think Ari Aster is like my favorite. One of my
Yeah, I mean,
favorite
we just
younger
talked about
filmmakers.
we just
yeah.
talked about on our most anticipated movies of the year, pretty much, that I Saw the TV Glow is the movie we're most excited for, which is an A24 movie. Like it's
Yeah,
like
yeah. So
they're
it's
making
like
good movies. So, but it's just, I don't know. It's like, can you separate it from the brand that is being created here, and is that brand going to start to like seep into the quality of these movies? Which, if they keep working with good directors, probably won't have any effect. Like if they keep working with all these people who they're currently working with, it shouldn't really matter. But I
it
don't
is notable that like A24 is a production company, but they do not produce tons of
Yes.
movies.
Yeah.
They're still primarily a distribution company. Like they did not produce Love Lies Bleeding, they distributed Love Lies Bleeding. But I think that there is still like it's like the way that you market movies and the way that you present movies, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Is
Yeah.
what we're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. If we're all done with A24 and Love Lies Bleeding, we can talk about some news because we have a lot of it today. Obviously, as usual, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and follow us on all of our socials, and join the Discord if you want to chat. But we have like so many things. I tried to narrow it down. I tried to cut some things from the news because it feels like there's so much to talk about. We can start with two pieces of news that I grouped together, both related to a hot director right now, Yorgos Lanthimos, who has Kinds of Kindness, his next film, releasing on June 21st of 2024, about 3 months from the time that we're recording this, already after Poor Things just won 4 Oscars last week.
Poor Things, 2021, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then he was kind of, I don't know the entire situation, but he was sitting on that for a few years, and then he shot this movie I don't know when, but I'm assuming last year.
Yeah.
And then he's got his
Well,
new movie shooting this year as well.
right. So that's what I was about to say next. And then in addition to that, we have learned that Jesse Plemons is in talks to join Emma Stone in his next movie, Save the Green Planet, which is a remake of a movie that I think Owen has seen, right?
Yeah, I saw it last week. It's really good. I recommend it. It reminded me of, it's a Korean film. It reminded me, I'm pretty sure it's a Korean film. It reminded me of like House in the way that it's like the like crazy editing, but also it's like from 2003 and it has like American pop songs in it. It's like it's off the walls, like kind of bonkers. And it also, I've never seen a Saw movie, but it's like for me that's like it's like a Saw movie that I can handle. Like it's like very much like they capture this like business guy because they think he's an alien, and they're torturing him and they're like, you're an alien, like tell us you're an alien, like and they're like torturing him. And
So,
it's like crazy.
So do we think Jesse Plemons is going to be torturing someone or the person being tortured?
My understanding of the film is that Emma Stone is I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's Emma Stone is the person captured, but it could be either way.
Okay.
But it will be. It's either.
Well, I wonder if okay.
One of them is in the chair, and one of them is torturing the other person.
Right. Oh, is it only one person in the one that you've seen? Is it just one guy torturing one alien, or I thought it was like a group of people?
In the original movie, it is there's one guy and there is his like girlfriend.
Okay.
And they are torturing the like one business guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Regardless, back to back, well, not back to back, even 3 years in a row of Yorgos Lanthimos movies. Unless this new one doesn't come out in 2025 and it comes out in 2026. But regardless, 3 movies in 3 or 4 years. He's kind of on top right now.
I was thinking about that actually. Yorgos might be the most respected like auteur, like filmmaker in the world, other than Nolan.
he has the thing that David O. Russell kind of has, which is crazy. Like not in like a quality, not in a quality,
not in a quality,
or like a
or in like a quality of the person.
But he has the thing that David Russell has that we're like Divine Joy Randolph is like, oh, I want to work with David Russell, and it's like, why would she say that? But it's because
like actors say it all the time.
What's it called? Some of the David Russell movies, I forget what the one is called.
Silver Linings Playbook.
American
Hustle.
Hustle.
That one, or is it the one of them?
American Hustle
got like a ton of nominations. Like everyone in the fucking cast got an Oscar nomination. And when a guy does something like that, it's like actors are like, oh, I want to work with that guy now. And when Yorgos is able to get multiple Oscar wins for Best Actress, like the light bulb goes off. Oh, like it's like crazy that like Yorgos movies can do that. That's very like weird and like off kilter. But when you're winning Oscars for actor awards, then actors want to work with you, obviously.
Yeah.
So he's able to do that, and it kind of even that he was up for best, like Poor Things is up for a ton of Oscars, not even just
right. Yeah, no, I mean it had the second most nominations.
So he's rolling. I'm really excited for Kind of Kindness because it's an anthology film.
Yeah, it's an anthology, and also for reference for the listener, because we're talking about people who want to work with him. The cast for Kinds of Kindness is Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe, Margaret Qualley, Hong Chow, Joe Alwyn, Mamadou Ati, and Hunter Schafer.
Joe Alwyn and Hunter Schafer, we're up. Shout out Joe Alwyn.
Crazy collection of dudes.
That's
super excited for that. The reason I said this in like a video I made, but I'm a little iffy on anthology movies, but the fact that it is the same cast of characters playing, like it's the same cast playing different characters in like the anthology. Like it's not like that's how I read it. I think it says
so the same cast is going to be in every one of the
stories. That's what I read, and I think that's what I think it's going to be. So I would assume like it's like Emma Stone is going to be in the first one, and then she's also going to be like, I don't know how many are there going to be, but like you're not going to see Emma Stone for 30 minutes, and then she's going to disappear and you never see her again. Which is like for me, it's like anthology films are tough, and like when you do it well, like I think the Coffee and Cigarettes from Jarmusch is a really great one, because all of the segments are really great. But when you're doing an anthology movie, you got hit on all the segments, or you're like literally having a section of your film that just is like a null, because like, you have to be engaged and you have to like every section for it like to be like a really great anthology film. So they're tough. So I think if you got a great cast and you're using the great cast for the entire thing, it's a helpful kind of way to kind of make it
And-
more thorough and have a stronger third line and
Yeah.
make it stronger kind of compact.
Just to put like another thing there, because Doug mentioned how Yorgos is kind of like maybe the most respected. Another thing that we saw with the Oscars is that the Academy has expanded and has like a much bigger European body now.
Yep.
And if he is somebody who seemingly is like the most respected by that body, the European body, which is going to play a major role in like Oscar stuff moving forward. And then he's also making movies that are super like palatable to Americans. Like, you know, he's making like Hollywood movies, but all of Europe loves him. Like he's kind of in the best position to just be in Oscar contention every single time one of his movies comes out now, because of how much we saw this like European voting body sway the Oscar results.
Yeah, every time Yorgos makes a movie, it's kind of like, oh, you know, this one might win Best Picture. It's just like,
yeah, and that's just might just be the conversation that we have.
which is
And
weird.
it'll be
because-
crazy if we have that about Kinds of Kindness a year from now, because Poor Things just won the second most Oscars
Well,
than the
also,
year previous.
anthologies don't.
No,
compete.
yeah, sure. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't. It likely will not, but still.
But
Um,
maybe another another acting nom for someone.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Emma Stone I think Emma Stone like really like loves like obviously really loves working with them because she's in Poor Things, she's in this movie, and then she's going to be in the Save the Green Planet. So that's like a really cool like kind of.
And Emma Stone is in our next piece of news, because you mentioned Yorgos is kind of on top right now, but we might make the case that Emma Stone is the most successful person in Hollywood right now.
She's killing it.
The next piece of news is that Ari Aster's Eddington, a contemporary Western, begins filming this week, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix, Emma Stone, Austin Butler, and Pedro Pascal. A loaded cast for a guy coming off of a flop. So Ari Aster,
a flop, a mid,
is like
a bad,
a flop in terms of commercial success.
I'm excited for this one.
liked the
Actually,
movie.
I'm super
But-
excited for this. Well, here's the thing. We were just talking about A24 and the business model that
Yeah.
they're whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think George Carlin's gonna listen to this and he's gonna fume. He's gonna have steam come out of his ears when I say this. A24 like financed and made Beau's Afraid knowing that shit was gonna lose a ton of money, like 100%.
But Doug, they don't do that.
They did that. But the reason they did that to appease Ari Aster, because they're like,
Right.
oh, this
It's just
guy
like
is
they're
so
one of
integral
their
to our
three-
fucking brand.
Yeah, he's like
we
one of their
need to-
three biggest filmmakers.
Yeah, he's like,
I mean, we
need
just
to
said he
keep
had
this
the
guy on the
movie
leash.
that like launched their brand, like Hereditary, like launched their brand.
Yeah, like so, like they financed Beau's Afraid knowing that shit was not gonna be successful.
Yeah.
Just
this is
so
like
that
Ari Aster's Godfather.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It's like this, like that's what I'm seeing it as, like this Western that's maybe not as commercial as like something that he could make, but like it feels like, I don't know, it feels like this is maybe the most commercial Ari Aster movie in terms of like, I don't know, maybe it's gonna be really fucking weird, but like I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a Western might be less weird than like the giant dick monster in Beau's Afraid.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see him go down this path.
Like it feels like his, like, I feel like definitely a movie he wants to make, but maybe a movie that like this is his deal with, like I'll make that really weird movie that's not gonna make money, and then this movie might be a better suited movie to make like a bunch of cash.
Yeah, and he so I think that, God, there was an interview I heard like a long time ago at this point now, where he was talking about this movie, this Western, and I think that he said that he had the idea for it before he started filming Beau's Afraid. And then when they started filming Beau's Afraid, and he was building this relationship with Joaquin Phoenix, he basically was like, hey, Joaquin Phoenix, do you want to play the lead in this Western? And he was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how the movie got off.
Yeah, I mean, him and Joaquin Phoenix would probably be frequent collaborators.
Yeah. Ari Aster's also producing the Save the Green Planet movie, which like shout out Ari Aster. I think he's had like maybe the rights to it for a bit, but yeah, that's a cool little Ari Aster produced Yorgos Lanthimos thing going on.
No,
Lot
Save
of-
the Green Planet's gonna be
And then,
really. I'm
and
really
then
lot
Emma
of
excited.
Stone is
people
in
forget
both.
that.
Emma Stone in a Western is such an interesting
Bro,
thing
Austin
too.
Butler.
Yeah,
This
Austin
cast
Butler's
is
Austin
gonna be
crazy.
Butler.
sick.
Austin
This
Butler
cast is
is
crazy.
huge.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about Austin Butler too is like you have no idea what form he's gonna come in. You don't know what he's gonna be
No,
doing. Now.
true.
Yeah, he could
but
be like a
also,
fucked up, like I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't.
He
This
could
is
do
it-
anything.
It's
I hope
yeah,
he's like
it's
evil.
cool
I
to
hope
see.
he's like
Yeah.
a menace.
It's cool to see that this is a movie that is coming out as he's like ascending, essentially. Like the Dune Part 2 to whatever comes next is like him ascending to like superstardom. And in the midst of that, he'll be in an Ari Aster
Yeah, I
movie,
mean, you
which
can
fucking
you can think
rocks.
about the poster, right? Like Joaquin, Emma Stone,
Yeah,
Austin Butler. Like that's like the titans of cinema right there, right now.
yeah.
So that's.
I mean, no, but like Emma Stone genuinely is like who? Because we talked about Iowa Debris, who is like super young and just kind of like doing a lot. Emma Stone is like doing all these Yorgos movies. She's in an
Yeah.
Ari Aster movie. She was in The Curse,
The Curse.
and she produces stuff.
Yeah,
like,
she produced The Curse. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she is killing it. Like she might
Um,
be doing better than anybody in Hollywood right now. Like she's
And she didn't even want to win that Oscar. That's the craziest thing. Is
I mean, she didn't even need it because she just
by
had it a few
accident.
years ago.
She's like, I shot that movie 3 years ago. I'm fine. Like Lily, you got this. But
Yeah,
kinda
she's
slipped
yeah,
and
I
fell into
don't
that
even
one.
know. I didn't even mention that she just won a fucking Oscar too. Like that's
Yeah.
it's fucking crazy.
her second Oscar, right? It's like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very
her
yeah.
second
And
Oscar, and she's still in her 30s.
Yeah.
Like,
no, and it's very cool that somebody, and she's popular, right? And it's very cool
Yeah.
that somebody like her, that's very talented, super famous, still pretty young, is working. Is in
Like,
cool movies. Is
yeah,
doing a
no,
Yorgos
yeah.
movie, doing another
Yeah.
Yorgos movie, doing an Ari Aster movie. She was in the Nathan Fielder TV show.
mean,
Like just cool projects,
Is
like cool
she
stuff.
like
Yeah.
I'm trying like
No
she-
Taika Waititi. It's like, oh
yeah,
man,
but is
it's
she like the biggest
big money, big money.
actress?
The biggest actress.
You know,
biggest-
not like somebody who has like a giant legacy behind them, like a Meryl Streep or whatever, but like in the present day, is
People
she,
that
like,
are
the
under
most-
40 years old.
Sure, if you want to say that, like just like I'm just saying, is
I
she
don't
like the
know.
most famous actress working right now?
Most famous. I
Like
don't know.
in terms of, I don't know. It's because some
I
people
don't
have
even
fame-
know who I
Some
would
people have
think.
fame that is
People aren't, like, jumping
outside
off
of
of
just like their work. You know, like
Yeah,
Zendaya's obviously a more famous person than Emma Stone, but
Emma Stone might be. I don't
might
know.
be
I
just
feel
like
like
the
we're
most
probably forgetting
famous
somebody very
actress.
big.
Like
Um,
I don't know. She's just like no, but
I don't know who's
my
in a
point.
Marvel movie.
My point being, yeah, sure, like Scarlett Johansson, sure, like
yeah, Scarlett Johansson
I was
is,
thinking that
but
was,
that's
like-
different
But,
because
like-
she's not doing cool movies. Like
that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, for somebody who is in the position that Emma Stone is in, like arguably the most
She's doing like
famous
Greg Berlanti
actor.
flick.
Yeah, like she's just
out.
she's just picking cool stuff. And we're gonna talk about Scarlett Johansson later, but we got a lot to get to. Next up, Paul Thomas Anderson's next film will release on August 8th, 2025, and will have IMAX screenings, which people are talking about because I believe that has never been the case for one of his movies to play in IMAX.
what's going on with IMAX, dude? What the fuck? What's happening?
What's going on with Paul Thomas Anderson?
So it was said to be his biggest movie when we talked about it on the news
'Cause
previously,
Leo is a
months
greedy
ago.
bastard.
Yeah. Now we have like pretty clear confirmation that it's his quote unquote biggest movie because it will play on IMAX screens.
Oh,
My
I mean, it will be his biggest. It'll be his tallest as well.
Sure, yeah. And my guess is that it's playing in the beginning of August because that was probably the only time you
time.
could do an IMAX window for a Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
It's I mean, it's hard to get slots. Mickey 17, kick to the can.
Right, yeah. So are you guys excited for this movie? I mean, we talked about this on the news before, but it's been a
loved
while.
His last movie so much.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
I guess. Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Alana Haim in this, or Haim is in this. I'm excited. I don't know. I'm not really crazy about the cast, which is like I think Licorice Pizza is like kind of a combination of like this is just like everything about this is just so magical. But I don't know. I think I would like it, but I don't know. I'm not like the biggest Paul Thomas Anderson fan.
I just feel like
Yeah.
what's going on with IMAX though? Like why Why is there a PTA movie in IMAX?
Maybe it's
Maybe it's a contemporary action flick. With
Do we
big
think that?
explosions?
Do we
we
think
don't know
that?
the plot of the movie.
It's a Michael
right?
Bay movie.
Do we think that Dune, that the combination of like Denis Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan making IMAX such a big thing that like normal people know about all the time and are thinking about like, oh, this movie shot in IMAX. Do we think that's good or
this movie
bad?
shot on IMAX? This movie's not shot on IMAX, right?
No, but that's
Well,
like, that's not what I'm saying.
Doug's thinking in terms of like this is how they're going to promote a movie is by saying it's
Yeah,
a
it's
movie
like, oh,
for
this is an IMAX
Like you got to
movie.
go watch it on the biggest screen
Yeah.
possible.
Is this good or
Um,
bad for movies?
I think it is. I think it is good when it is Christopher Nolan or Denis or whoever doing it because these are like big event movies that make money and the people watching them enjoy them. I am nervous that that same crowd of people would then go watch a Paul Thomas Anderson movie and be like, that shit was not good. I wasted my money going to the theater, and then that starts to really spiral. But it's not like there's, I don't know, like bad movies play in IMAX all the time.
I wouldn't
like,
say that Paul Thomas Anderson is like a weird filmmaker.
No, he's not
like,
weird,
like,
but like he's not like
reflect.
marketable the way he's not like marketable the way like Christopher Nolan is or Denis is, like the types of movies that they
I will
make.
say, normal people don't
Bitches
like
love
licorice
their-
pizza.
Bitches
Yeah,
love
that's what I
There Will Be
mean.
Blood,
Like a
bro.
regular person wouldn't like go.
Yeah, they don't
watch
like
Licorice
pizza because
and
they
be
think
like-
it's gross and there's like an age gap thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Sure,
not-
but like,
I don't
but
know
they,
if that's-
you think they would go and
Also,
it'd
saying
be
people like There Will Be Blood, that's like saying people will like Drive Away Dolls because people like No Country for Old Men.
Yeah,
No,
like it's like,
no.
I mean, like it's not like people like flock to theaters to watch Phantom Thread and we're like, that was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like it's like this guy
they
doesn't make
flock.
movies. This guy doesn't make movies like Christopher Nolan. But also like,
yeah, but I think
don't
if they got in that seat, man.
I don't think it means that. Yeah, I don't think it means anything because it's like fucking Godzilla vs Kong is playing in IMAX next week. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, I don't know. It doesn't really
Where was the
matter.
Beekeeper?
The Beekeeper. Oh no, I saw it in IMAX, but
I did not see that in
I don't think
IMAX.
they played it. Well, because they had like the one. I think they had like the one early screening for the Beekeeper where they played it in IMAX. But anyway, that's beside the point. Yeah,
Baymax. Anyway.
Oh, Baymax.
Speaking of movies,
Baymax.
well, actually, I guess speaking of movies that aren't coming out in 2025, The Batman Part 2 has been delayed to October of 2026. Long time from now.
He's going to be he isn't. Robert Pattinson is going to be 40 when that movie comes out.
Yeah.
What do you, dude, the delays of the Batman hinder or give him more time to work on other things?
Probably.
Or do they just make his schedule fucking worse?
Well, okay, my understanding is that he's
is
probably
the movie not shot. Yeah.
No, I don't think it's I don't think
it's even fucking finished being written.
Yeah, I don't think they've started shooting
it's
yet.
like they pushed it back like for like it's like literally like he's still writing that bitch.
The thing is though, didn't he just have a child?
Yeah,
Rob.
He just had a baby.
Yeah, so I think maybe it's possible that he's just like the thing with him.
Fuck you, Rob.
Whether he's working or not.
I
mean, he's probably just spending time with his newborn child.
We need another.
And then
we need
we'll
to
go
finish
back
that.
to working after.
We need to finish the limousine trilogy.
Right. Which is what? Cosmopolis,
Maps to the Stars, and
oh, okay.
and
yeah,
then the
I don't
next
know. Like,
Cronenberg movie that he will be in that I made up in my head.
It'll happen, maybe.
Cronenberg,
Probably
come on!
It will not
he's gonna-
happen. It will not
that
happen.
bitch is gonna die. Yo.
Okay. You guys don't. I don't know how much you guys care about the Batman Part 2.
Listen. I'm excited. I like the Batman.
But you're not affected. You're not affected by it being delayed to October of 2020.
Doug didn't even
it
know it was not
sucks.
shot
It's
yet. I
annoying
thought it was
that-
shot.
It's annoying that I'm gonna be like, what, like 20,
60 years
25
old.
when that shit comes out.
25.
That's annoying.
25
I was
next
20
week.
when the first one came out, but it's fine. Like,
Yeah, it's not like I see that news and I don't really get affected by it, but I mean,
I
I'll
was
be
more
more
annoyed
excited.
when Mickey 17 got pushed back.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Although I
Yeah.
am very excited for the Batman Part 2. I really
Yeah.
like the first one. Um, Bradley Cooper's Is This Thing On is set to begin filming this fall. In addition to
What about
directing,
Bradley Cooper's
he will
Lincoln?
also star in the project alongside Will Arnett, and plot details are being kept under
That sounds like
wraps.
it
So
sounds
we
like
don't
a King of Comedy movie. Like
yeah, we don't know what the movie is
I mean, Will
about
Arnett is
at
a
all.
comedian,
That's what I was
and
gonna say.
is
Like
this thing
having
on?
Will
There's a
Arnett in there
microphone thing.
is interesting. I will.
I mean,
I'll
Hangover. Like, I mean, Bradley Cooper, funny guy.
right. I'll reference what
I
I
don't
said
know.
to Doug a few weeks ago, which is that I was listening to the Smartless podcast, which Will Arnett is one of the co-hosts of, and they said on that podcast that Maestro was the best movie of the year and the best directed movie in the past decade. And seemingly they are really good friends with Bradley Cooper,
They love that
and
guy.
Will Arnett mentioned on that podcast that he was working on a movie that he couldn't talk about on the podcast. So I'm curious if he was referencing the Bradley Cooper movie because it says the plot
What
details
if
are
that
under
thing is
wrap.
already shot and they bring it out next week?
Maybe, but this is like so interesting to me
It
that
is
he's
it's not shot yet.
it's so interesting to me that his follow-up to Maestro will be a movie starring Will Arnett. I'm so curious. I like because that's been like the topic of conversation is like what is Bradley Cooper gonna do after Maestro doesn't win any Oscars?
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
also Bradley Cooper has been super vocal about the fact that it takes him a long time to develop projects. Like it took him, it took him like
Yeah,
5
he's like,
years
I
to
got
do.
4 movies left in me.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna
because he
be
was like,
80 years old when
yeah,
that.
because he was like, it took him
yeah,
5 years to develop the what's the Lady Gaga movie called?
A Star is Born.
A Star is Born, and then it took him 6 years between writing and filming and
Right.
editing Maestro. It took him 6 years to make that. So it's like he's very
But
open
this
about it.
is
It takes him
yeah,
a
but this
long
is
time to make
like
movies.
kind of a quick turnaround then. The fact
Yeah.
that he's filming it this
Well,
fall after Maestro just came out.
yeah.
Um, that's like pretty. But then again, I guess if he's I don't know when they filmed Maestro, but I don't know. I'm just curious what the
Well,
movie is
is he?
about and
Does
what.
it say that he's acting in it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no. So he's directing and starring in it alongside Will Arnett, and really all we know is that it's titled "Is This Thing On?" We can make assumptions about what that means about the
Okay.
plot, but we would just be
Here's
making up movie plots
some
at that point.
more details. It is also
Um,
written by Will Arnett.
Oh, no.
oh,
Yes.
that
Not
is
Bradley Cooper.
interesting.
No.
So
It's written by
directed and starring.
It's written by Will Arnett and Mark Chappelle, and Mark Chappelle also
Dave
wrote See How They
Chappelle?
Run.
Interesting.
Yeah. Not Bradley Cooper.
So
Huh.
that makes sense why he'd been taking that long because he didn't write the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, this is interesting. I wonder if it's gonna be. I don't even know what I wonder.
I don't know.
Actually,
I have no
yeah.
idea. Plot is under wraps. I have no idea what the movie's about. And the thing
Yeah.
about Bradley Cooper too is like Bradley, he can do anything probably. He's like
Yeah, no, of course. Next piece of news. Neve Campbell is returning to star as Sydney
Neve Campbell.
Prescott. Neve Campbell, sorry. In Scream 7.
Yeah,
Um,
what a joke.
Yeah. This is like
Well, and what's his nuts is directing. The writer for the first 4.
right. Kevin? Is his name Kevin?
you guys got this.
I'm
Is his
having
name
a
Kevin?
rough time remembering names today.
Is his name
Kevin's
Kevin?
down.
I think his name's
Kevin's
Kevin.
not Kevin Williamson. Kevin Williamson.
There you go.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Kevin Williamson, kind of the creator of Scream alongside Wes Craven. He wrote those original movies, and then he's been like a producer for the last few. But he's not been writing them because Radio Silence has been doing that, which is kind of always a weird thing. It would make sense for, I don't know if there was like they wanted to go a new direction, obviously, but it would make sense if the guy who wrote the first 4 would write the next ones if he's still heavily involved in them.
Especially since he wrote the best modern Scream movie called Sick.
Well, yeah, so
you
like
know,
he still
like-
got it, you know.
Yeah.
So then it's like the whole thing with Melissa Barrera happened where they fired her for being pro Palestine and all that stuff, and now they're kind of scrambling to like save face. So Neve Campbell, who was not in 6 because they did not pay her enough, and she was like, "Hey, I am like the fucking face of this franchise. Like I deserve to be paid as if I were like if there was a male face of Scream, you would have paid him, right? That was her whole deal. And so she was not in 6, right? And then the whole thing happened where Radio Silence was originally like not gonna do 7 because they wanted to do another project, and Spyglass was like, we want 7 fast. And then Melissa Barrera gets canned, and then Jenna Ortega leaves because of Melissa Barrera getting canned. And then they're like really scrambling, and so they try to get Neve Campbell back. They're like, fuck it, we'll just give Neve Campbell whatever she wants. And then Christopher Landon, who did those Happy Death Day movies, he was originally directing the Scream 7 in replace of Radio Silence. He left because Twitter was like, fuck this guy. He's not, he's sticking by Spyglass. He's not. So he kind of got peer pressured into leaving Scream 7. So then they're like, fuck, no director is going to want to do this fucking project because you'll literally get a target on your back. So they go to Kevin Williamson, who has been a producer on these movies since day one. He's been a part of the franchise since day one, and he's directed like 1 movie ever, and he's notably a writer. They're like, fuck it, please direct this movie for us. So Kevin Williamson will be directing Scream 7 if this movie gets like made. That's like the current fucking frame of this movie. Kevin Williamson will be directing Scream 7, but he is not writing the movie, as the movie's already been written.
That's the most bizarre
by
part.
the guy who wrote the last 2. He helped with Radio Silence. So one of the writers, I forget the guy's name, but there's a guy writing Scream 7. The script's already written, but it's not Kevin Williamson. So when you're saying, oh, Kevin Williamson is doing Scream 7, most people would assume that he is writing it. But no, he is just directing it because no one else could fucking direct it because no one else wants that job. It's like the worst job right now. So Neve Campbell is back because she got her money, and Kevin Williamson is directing, and then some other guy is writing it. But weird
shit situation.
What a weird shit show.
Just whatever.
Yeah.
What an interesting, if this movie does get made, outside of like the fact that it's made by evil people, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like an evil project. What an interesting artifact this will be.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Shit stone.
Artifact of like time of this kind of like it's like literally like we are making content and we need a fucking another piece of it and we need another fucking chip, and we're gonna do literally anything to use this IP to make money.
I hope that Neve Campbell, gets paid like $10 million, and I hope that this movie just shits the bed, makes like no money.
Well, yeah, it's weird because they are really banking on the movie making money, because the whole situation with Melissa Barrera is like, hey, I will immediately come back to Scream if they sell the movie, if they sell the franchise, right? If they sell Spyglass, Spyglass sells Scream, I'll do a Scream movie. I don't want to be associated with Spyglass because of what they've been doing. And Spyglass is saying, no, like, we are going to make this movie with whoever we can get because Scream is bigger than Melissa Barrera. But it's weird because you're alienating
3 movies coming out this year.
You're alienating your franchise or your fan base by being like, hey, you're the lead actress of the last 2 movies. Fuck her. We don't care. We're making a movie without her. And using Neve Campbell as kind of this like pawn where it's like, remember, old Neve? It's really kind of gross.
Like, it's funny on their part because like this whole situation has made Melissa Barrera more famous.
Bigger. Yeah, bigger.
So like they're just like it's just a real fucking slap in the face.
It's so weird. Because, but like I'm just assuming I feel like what's gonna happen is this movie's gonna get made and it's gonna not make a lot of money because the whole fan base is like, fuck this, right?
Yeah. I mean, even still to this point,
it's gonna make less money than. And say what happens is, say it comes out, the movie comes out, and everyone's like, oh, this movie fucking sucks. No one's gonna see it, right? They're probably gonna just like have to sell it after that. Like, where are you gonna go from there? If everyone says the latest one sucks and no one saw it and it didn't make money, so they are probably gonna end up having to sell it anyway. And then it's like, okay, what the fuck happens then?
And then they do Scream 8 by bringing back the Scream 6 cast, and then Scream 7 just like kind of sits there as like a movie that exists in the middle.
I don't know. It's gonna be a really weird. It'll be a weird thing to look back down in like 10 years and see like what like this is gonna be like a weird pivotal moment in the franchise. I don't know.
Okay. We have a couple more pieces of news. They're all smaller pieces of news, so we could kind of go rapid fire on these. But Elizabeth Olsen, Callum Turner, and Miles Teller to star in David Frayn's rom-com Eternity for A24. The film is set in a world where everyone must decide who they want to spend the rest of their lives with. This is like I put in here because it's Miles Teller news, who we kind of talked about
Miles
in the whole Top
Teller.
Gun Maverick situation, and now
Yeah.
he is like in another movie, an A24 movie, a rom-com from a director who I don't think has done much before this. Also, Callum Turner is in this movie, who is kind of like, I don't know how online you guys are in the world of like, but you know what I mean?
I
Like,
know
like,
plenty.
like Callum Turner is kind of the
Yes.
guy who's being positioned as like the neck, like, you know,
I
like
know
he's on
all
the
White
about
boy of
this
the week,
gentleman.
man.
yeah,
Yes.
he's the next, yeah.
I saw the
gentleman
boys
and
in the
his
boat.
wonderful girlfriend.
I saw the
Right.
boys in the boat. I've seen him.
Right.
Oh,
So he's
big-
on the way.
yeah.
He's on the way up. It's interesting because it says it's a rom-com, and it says that the plot is about, you know, like people have to decide who to spend eternity with. So I'm guessing Elizabeth Olsen's character will be picking between Callum Turner and Miles Teller. Interesting. This is also like a Black Mirror episode that already has been made.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I was just thinking
So,
that.
yeah, like
Um,
I hate that's like such a recurring thing that I see in movie and I'm just like, man, this shit's annoying. There's like a number of movies that have come out in like the past few years where like they come out and I see the plot of them and I'm like, you guys are just doing a Black Mirror episode.
well, that's the thing with Foe, right? You remember Foe, that movie?
Oh right, yeah.
Remember
But that was
Kevin
different. That was
participated
different.
in
that
the
situation
yeah.
was so
those-
dumb because it was like Ian Reed wrote this book and then Black Mirror ripped off that book and then they
Well, and then the thing is also, even if the book wasn't there to like set the precedent, it's like those things came out so close to each other that you cannot like if you just used your brain for 2 seconds, you'd be like, there's no way this movie ripped off an episode of TV that just premiered 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Like that's just not possible.
But so speaking of, did you guys what's his name? Callum, the guy from Boys in the Boat?
Callum Turner.
Callum Turner. Did you guys see the pictures that were circulating? Oh, this is a while ago, but of him and Jessica Kirby.
No.
Vanessa Kirby?
Vanessa, Jesus Christ.
Vanessa
Kirby.
Bad day for me. You said Jessica Kirby. I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, I was
No,
like,
but
I didn't see no pictures of no Jessica Kirby, man.
with him and Vanessa Kirby. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Yeah, I think I did see those.
Wait,
those pictures are incredible.
Is that who he's currently dating, or is he currently?
No, he's dating Dua Lipa.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Dua Lipa. Shout out.
Good for Callum Turner.
Yeah, great for that guy, dude. I mean,
I don't. I'm excited for a rom com with Miles Teller, but also like that's kind of where his career started, was in bad rom coms. So I don't know what that means about this. Next up, Scarlett Johansson has reportedly been offered a lead role in the new Jurassic World movie.
Kevin, how do you feel about that, Kevin?
Oh yeah, Kevin.
Big Jurassic World.
Listen, we've talked about Jurassic World on the news several weeks and
every week,
every week for the past like 2 months. Listen, I've said that like they're getting the right writer attached and like maybe
writer, competent
like
director,
good
actress,
and
really
now
good
like
director, really good actress.
Now like a really good listen, if they're like really going all in on this like Jurassic World revival and their goal is to make it a good movie and
if
not
they
just
can
like
get
a
Scarlett
hit,
Johansson, this feels like a really well put together studio project.
Yeah,
I'm not joking. This isn't going to be the best movie of the year or anything, right?
Yeah.
This is like, but
I hope it doesn't suck.
This legitimately, this might be the best Jurassic Park movie since the first Jurassic Park movie. Like, it's like
not a high, yeah.
Yeah, no, the bar.
But
Well,
I
okay, no,
mean-
but people, I'd have to rewatch the second and third one because it's been so long. But like people generally who are big Jurassic, like who are actually
Gareth
like
Edwards,
big
here we
Jurassic
go.
Park fans, really like those. I don't know, but
it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Gareth Edwards is like, he's like a good franchise guy.
It could instantly be better than every other Jurassic
I wonder
World
who's
movie.
gonna shoot it. I wonder who's gonna shoot it. I'm assuming the guy.
Imagine Greg Fraser.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my god. But like, it would just be crazy if they're putting together this.
It might
team
be
for
the guy
Jurassic
who did. I
World.
don't know his name. I forget his name, but
Oh, the guy that
did
did the creator. Yeah,
Gareth Edwards kind of like basically like I was gonna say groomed, but like he like
Yeah, maybe
kind of
not, right.
created this guy in a lab, and they basically like Gareth Edwards like, oh, I like this guy. Greg Fraser can't do this. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna just have Greg Fraser on Zoom calls, like teach this guy how to make fucking.
I was gonna say, did you hear about? Yeah, like they
Yeah.
would have like on set. Greg would zoom in and talk about like
So
how
it
he would
almost
shoot
feels
it.
like Greg Fraser is becoming like so big of a cinematographer that he
Yeah.
can't always help with Gareth Edwards' smaller projects that are less cool.
Mhm.
So
Right.
they kind of are making this guy be like Greg Fraser Jr. So I would assume he's gonna do that movie if I
But
had to
also,
put money on
Greg
anything.
Fraser, I don't think is above doing Jurassic.
No, I don't
Park.
think he is. Also,
Yeah.
I just he
I
might
mean,
be busy.
he'd be getting paid a lot of money
Yeah,
for
Yeah,
it.
no,
exactly.
I don't think he's above. I
Um,
don't mean he's a cinematographer or something like they don't do
Yeah,
weird
it's
bad
not.
projects.
Yeah.
But I if it's not Greg Fraser, the next guy I'm ultimately it'd be like that guy who did the
Yeah.
Creator.
I know. I just like
Probably won't be
listen,
one of
man.
those two
If
guys.
they actually
was-
get Scarlett Johansson to do this, which is
It
like
would be
not hard to
interesting
believe, but
It would be interesting to see like their approach to it because I
Mhm.
mean it's gonna be a big budget movie, but the creator only cost what $85 million, and they really like had this like kind of interesting way of using cameras and the way they like use money. So it would be interesting like now with a bigger budget and like
Yeah,
how they're
he's gonna
going to
be
kind of
shooting the shit on like a red Komodo, probably. Like I mean, like the technology is gonna be so much greater than
Yeah.
what they used.
I
On
don't know.
The Creator.
I'm interested in it. I think that
Yeah.
I think there's
I hope we
something
get a fucking dinosaur movie, dude.
well,
Yeah.
David Robert
Well,
Mitchell.
No. But I'm saying like I'm saying like because I'm
that
referencing I'm referencing the last Jurassic World
That
movie,
movie
which
is
was a
gonna-
dinosaur movie that is not about dinosaurs. Is my
I think it's
point.
Mike G too. David Robert Mitchell, Mike G, Ewan McGregor, Anne Hathaway. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that movie will be
man.
about
Oh
dinosaurs.
man,
which
that
is
movie.
cool.
That movie. Doug said
Um,
that not this movie might not be the best movie of the year. That movie can contend for sure. That's
Right.
that's just gonna rip.
I don't know if you guys even care about this piece of news,
Probably
but the Greta Gerwig has joined the cast of Noah Baumbach's next film alongside George Clooney, Adam Sandler, Laura Dern, Riley Keough, and Billy Crudup, who we talked about earlier.
You need to stop.
I think
you need to stop throwing me in with Owen's fucking.
No, my bad. I know you do care.
But
the funny thing here is that the movie,
Baumbach.
the description that they put for the movie is just that it's described as a funny and emotional coming of age film about adults, which is just a
nice
Noah
job, Noah.
Baumbach
You did it
movie. Like
again,
that's
Yeah,
just
every Noah Baumbach
that's
movie.
just every movie he's made.
Boring.
I
Yeah,
like
I
Noah
don't-
Baumbach.
George
Noah
Clooney's
Baumbach
in it.
fans, bro. Noah Baumbach fans. Noah Baumbach
They
fans. They
live in
don't
New
even
York.
like white noise. They don't even like white noise. I like white noise. I'm a
Yeah.
fucking real head. I'm here for this.
How do you feel about George Clooney being in one of his movies?
I
I'm
mean, I
happy
love
George Clooney's
Clooney.
acting.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
love
Clooney's kind
George
of a goat.
Clooney.
He's great.
George Clooney, the actor, though. What about George Clooney, the director, Owen?
I don't know that guy. I've never seen.
Real? Have you seen one of the movies he's directed?
Yeah,
Boys in the Boat.
Starring
Oh,
Callum
right.
Turner,
Oh,
the
I forgot.
guy
I
who
forgot he
dates
directed that. Oh
Dua
my
Lipa.
god! Wow.
Yeah.
Oh damn. Yeah, it's a good thing he's like a great actor.
A good thing he's like one of the best actors. Like
Yeah.
literally, like
And then final piece
you
of
can
news
make as
here.
many
Oh,
shitty
did you
movies
want
as long as you're in Solaris, dude. Holy. And those what are those movies called? The Oceans movies.
Yeah,
George.
Right. Our final piece of news is TV news, so I'm going to try to make this as interesting as possible for you guys. We have 2 new seasons of television confirmed. The first is that The Bear has been renewed for season 4. While season 3 is currently filming, they're going to film seasons 3 and 4 back to back right now. And then the other one,
that guy's about to go in Marvel. He's about to go in Marvel.
The other one that I just referenced earlier is that Black Mirror season 7 will debut in 2025. It will feature a sequel episode to USS Callister, and it will have 6 episodes total. I don't know how to make this interesting for you guys because you guys don't care about either of these shows. So if there was a gun to your head and you had to watch one of these seasons of television, which one are you watching?
I'm going to watch the Black Mirror season. I've seen every Black Mirror episode.
Okay. Oh, and if you had to watch
just a lot of them are bad. That's my thing about Black Mirror. I like Black Mirror, but it's also I think
I
it's
like
okay
it as
to
well.
watch the thing and recognize that a lot of Black Mirror is bad. You know?
Yeah, well, that's like I mean, that's how I felt since the beginning. Is like that's kind of the appeal to me is that they make good episodes and bad episodes sometimes. The problem is that I don't love the Black Mirror news, including that they're going to have a sequel episode to USS Callister because
that was weird because the USS Callister is a good episode.
Yes,
but
it's a good episode, but my perspective on it is that like this past season of Black Mirror that we got was underwhelming in like a massive, like they had the underwhelming season, then they had like kind of a bounce back season, and now they had like an underwhelming season.
Yeah.
And like a season with pretty much no highs, and it feels like they recognize that, and they're trying to figure out how to save like Black Mirror. So they're like, what if we just do a sequel to one of the episodes that everybody likes? You know, like I'm like,
Yeah, we're gonna get a
like we're
sequel
only
to
getting
the
because there's only 6
Juniper.
episodes in the season, and
Yeah.
obviously it's an anthology show, so like each thing is different. So it's like, why out of those 6 episodes are you making a sequel episode? I don't like. It just feels like they're grasping at straws because they realized how bad this past season was, and I don't think they know. I don't think they're in a position where they recognize what they have to do to not make another bad season. Like I think we might just get another bad season of Black Mirror, and they might just be cooked.
It's over. It's
Like
over.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Owen's like, yeah, it's over. Finally.
Owen's like, TV is ending. Even though really it's probably the opposite, because you know the Bear news,
Because TV
which is
is now
I
cinema.
guess
And Shogun
the Bear
TV
is now
movies. Movies are
with
done TV.
not
TV
even
is
with
taking
Succession
over.
ending. Is the Bear just the most popular show now? I mean, it's being renewed for another season while they're filming season 3. I can't think of a show that more people I know watch than The Bear, like that's currently airing.
Oh, more people you know, probably.
Yeah, but you know a lot of
yeah.
freaks.
Yeah, I'm talking about regular people who enjoy watching television.
Yeah, freaks.
No, I mean Yellowstone's still on. Yellowstone is still airing. It's
Okay,
gonna
I
end
don't.
soon, but
Yeah,
Yellowstone-
I don't
we're
really
talking
hang
about,
out
like,
with
people
70-year-old
under
men, though.
50 years
Yeah,
old, yeah.
like, it's,
No, I just think when you're like, it's not the most. It's like Yellowstone.
yeah, sure. Yellowstone's the most popular, but like not in terms
Yeah,
of like
really.
cultural relevance on the internet, because most
Yeah.
of like the people we
Nobody
talk to
that
on the
watches
internet are,
everybody that watches Yellowstone's on Facebook.
They don't know
Yeah,
how to
exactly.
use the internet.
Exactly. Putting Yellowstone aside, I think The Bear is the most popular show on TV right now.
Probably, I'm trying to, or like I don't know, like are we including sitcoms? Like, how many people watch Abbott Elementary?
Sure. Yeah,
You know?
Abbott Elementary is quite popular, but like The Bear is streaming on the same service.
Okay.
Well, yeah, they're both on Hulu. I don't know. Like, I guess I would say Stranger Things, but that's ending, so I don't. Yeah.
I
Bear's
also
kind
like
of a
saying
big
that
deal.
Stranger Things is like currently airing is super misleading.
Yeah, what a joke.
Right.
Holy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good for The Bear. I'm excited for 2 more seasons of TV that I'm gonna be like, yeah,
How
that
many
was
people?
good.
Do you know how many people are watching Shogun?
I
Feels like
don't
a
know the
lot.
exact number. I feel like it's a good. No, I know. Yeah, I have spoken to several people in real life who have been like, "Have you heard about Shogun?" And I know my sister is watching it as well. I when I was talking to my sister the other day, she was like, "Yeah, we've been watching Shogun." I'm like, "Okay, so people are checking this thing out." I mean, they did good with the advertising. It was all they played it at the Super Bowl, right? Like they put it all over TV. So
It's
yeah,
a little silly that they're doing all this advertising and it's a mini series.
Yeah, I know, and like they've already kind of said that they don't want to do another season.
Yeah, like I think I forget who it was. It was like the writer or like the showrunner was like, we like where the book ends, so we're just gonna end it where the book ends.
Which is just such a non-TV thing to do nowadays. Like the TV thing to do nowadays is like how can we turn this into the most TV possible?
Yeah, how can we turn this into 9
which is
seasons?
seemingly, I didn't include this in the news, but this kind of goes hand in hand with the Bear news, which is that there was like a report that after season 4, there was a report that they don't see season 4 as the conclusion to the Bear, and that they could see it going for a 5th season, and who knows how many more after that. So we might be getting a lot of the Bear, which yeah, like, I mean, I like it. That's fine.
Hey, DB, we're gonna get you out of there. We're gonna get you out of there.
Real.
Anyway,
okay.
I mean, she's
That's
out
last
of there.
piece of
She
news.
just goes back in every once in a while.
Yeah, no,
she's
She's
I mean,
everywhere.
you don't even really need to get her out of there, because she's doing like 19 projects a year. So like if she could squeeze it all in, who cares? Yeah, that's the last piece of news. We'll wrap up there. You can join us next week for episode 59. We're going to be talking about 2 movies, Immaculate and Roadhouse. And
I forgot we were talking about Roadhouse.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd time I've forgotten we're talking about that.
Straight to streaming Roadhouse. Conor McGregor, Scene Stealer, maybe. Who knows? We'll talk about it. And we'll see you later.